Moodtrix from now to where it began. Now,
Productions.
I was known as Moodtrix, the Bay Area rapper, AMV maker, and dancer. But I was mostly known for just making AMVs for local rappers. And I blew up by tagging those rappers in the AMV on Instagram. And literally, everybody supported me ever since, and I built a foundation of people who respect me for who I am. This is the story about how that fan base, that foundation, got slandered, got destroyed, to where it went from nothing but understanding to nothing but material things mattered. It started off with me, after the clout, for making that AMV, being the regular, and people not putting pussy on the pedestal. I started off listening to rap like, don't kiss that girl, she sucked up other guys. And then, at the end of the video, I'll explain that it went from don't trust her, don't kiss her because she sucked someone up, to be a gentleman. But before I go into that, I have to state first and foremost that when I was at the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, when I blew up from my Instagram, is when everybody knew that some girls were nipple, and that the majority of the black people I hung out with literally had the same mindset that I do now. It's like, I could get women, but I don't want to deal with their problems. I'd rather be alone. Plus, they cause a whole lot of drama. The default. Literally, every time. A lot of black people always agree with me. A lot of black people show me love and respect. And literally, it was the first time where I actually felt black. And literally, I thought I was spoiled my whole life. But once they put me in a place where people literally didn't have the right to make fun of me, didn't have the right to take shots at me, didn't have this and that, and even if they tried to do it on the outside, I was protected by elders like E40, LaRue, all those people that were famous in the Bay Area, literally protected me. And literally, nobody agreed with these thought-ass strippers on Instagram when they tried to say, oh, he's a little kid because it's nothing but cartoons on his profile, when they could be 5150 regular if they didn't have tons of social validation. And the reason why that ties so in heavy is because I stopped putting women on a pedestal and I focused only on my craft. All I needed was one. And then I realized that what I was doing was more challenging. And yeah, it's good every once in a while, but I mostly just want to make my AMVs. I mostly just want to be happy. It got to a point where I sent a text message to one of my friends, and Lily, so what happened was this. Okay, so Lily, so they know that I know how to fuck because I said some shit like, oh, how tall are you? On an Instagram live stream where I'm a fine-ass girl, and she's like 5'2", I'm like, I'm 5'4", I can juggle your ass. And I'm delivering it like a square, but all the black people who've been there, done that, are imagining me lifting her butt cheeks left and right. And this is like, I don't know what he's talking about. The denial game did not work at the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Everybody saw through it. Everybody supported me. Everybody knew I had game, so nobody can give me shit. And that helped me communicate with those rappers even more when I tried to do work for them in person. But mostly I didn't work for them online. They would give me hints and stuff like that. They would give me Easter eggs, but I never had to do the work myself. And that felt really good because I know the difference between being a rapper and being a normal civilian. It's much better to be a normal civilian because rappers always have to constantly do work. You constantly have to work for your music. You constantly have to make songs. You don't really have freedom to fuck bitches like you think you do. And that's what I learned about the music industry, and that's what I loved about the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. I was talking to God, and God was testing me. He's like, do you think that guy's a virgin? And literally, he's a 30-year-old rapper, and I'm like, he could be a virgin, I don't know. And he's like, well, I think he's a virgin because he doesn't have time to do all that because he's too busy working. It was that time where I was struggling, but I was supported by so much love and understanding that it didn't matter. Whenever I came out like AMV, people went bonkers. Everybody always supported every single time. And literally, the bitches were on my jock, and I had time to fuck those bitches. And what came to conflict, I'm sorry to be a buzzkill, but what came to the conflict was the Bay Area rappers took advantage of the fact that I didn't have resources, but they took even more advantage of the fact that I didn't put their pussy on a pedestal. I'm like, okay, I know how to get him now. Now I have to wait to get my shit together. And I didn't want to do it right away. I had somebody at the group home trying to push me to get a job, while I'm all like, I'm trying to get myself mentally together. It only took 1 year in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, and then I got a job. You see, I learned right then and there is that I was suffering from years and years of nothing going my way, and people were calling me immature. Now, what happened was this, is once I started to face struggles in life, once I started to face challenges, I had no room to think about women. I had no room to think about this and that because of the thing that I was struggling to survive. But it got to a point where I was always covered by someone. Even my baby mom gave me some money one time. Actually, a couple, like no more than 3. And she only gave me $20 at the time each time because she didn't want to get raped and she's trying to take care of the kids. So all this rap that's talking about this and that, talking about, oh, he fucked my baby mom, I don't give a fuck about her, I just want to see my children and stuff like that. I relate to everything like that. I had a misconception that my baby mom was full of shit because she wasn't contacting me, but now that I'm older, I realize that it's the exact opposite. This is a very detailed video about why I didn't put anyone on a pedestal and that everybody knew I was a dad by default. Every single social interaction, I killed that. Except for Raj, because Raj is a dad too, but you know, when you're a hood nigga getting pussy, it's literally just like picking a penny up on the ground. And one thing that's a catch-22 is you may be able to have access to play, but you have no access to resources. And society used that against me heavy in the future. But I was so content in the highball country where I knew it wasn't gonna last forever. But they literally had the impression that I had the impression that I thought I was gonna think it was gonna last forever. When every time I was in the highball time chamber, I tried to get back to school. But every time I tried to get back to school, the semester was about to start. Everybody already picked those chances. You know, those classes and shit. So anyway, so literally, so
Moderate Mark Productions.
The devil is there, but at this point, the devil isn't my enemy. At this point, the devil and God are talking at the same time, like they're drinking beer at the bar, and they're literally just commenting, being calm, cool, and collect. And literally, so the devil is telling me, oh, if you want to get on that shit, you gotta be on that shit, you know. And so I was still suffering from the point in the highball times where people thought I was 100% happy. There was still this lingering shit in my mind that I was behind my age because all my friends were in college and I just got laid. Which is why I made this Despicable Me video, because I still felt behind my age, but I couldn't blame myself anymore because I knew that I was right. Because once I got pussy, the main thing I was complaining about, everything fell into place. Now, I realized later on that there was better shit than pussy, that friends are better than pussy, but they have to be real friends, not fake friends. I didn't have an actual friend, and Peter thought he was a friend until he went through the same thing. So this is how much of a grown man I was at the group home, aka the hyperbolic time chamber. There was this one time where I saw Peter come straight down the street from the highway in construction uniform, walking with his bike. Peter hasn't texted me ever since that psych ward incident, ever since I proved him wrong. But when I saw him in person, I see him in construction uniform and Lily. So I thought the guy, he's like, you know, he just got out for sexual harassment. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck ever. And I start talking to Peter because I can pull a bitch at any time. I rarely get to talk to Peter, and I took advantage of it. And he was wondering why I was being so nice to him. And the reason why is because I haven't seen you in so long. I can see a bitch at any time. I rarely get to see you, and I took advantage of that. I want you guys to understand that. I was pulling my arm in between my legs, like, crack that hang, man, and Peter. And Peter was acting brand new and stuff like that. He's like, oh, you know, acting like a graphic and design and stuff like that. You know, I'm still going to school and stuff like that. And the thing is, he's wondering if I know what's going on, and I know what's going on the whole time. I'm like, oh, you got in trouble for shit that I used to get in trouble for. Big whoop. I didn't even say that. I just kept it anime related, and literally it felt like the same thing when we were in 7th grade. And he's wondering, why is he talking like we're little kids where he's a grown man? Doesn't he worry about what people think about him? I can tell by his body language that he's wondering, why is he forgiving me? Why is he doing this and that? It's because I'm grown. And it's because I have to move on. And another thing that the hyperbolic time chamber taught me, literally, I'm stuck alone. I'm stuck with no friends. I barely have any money to survive. And Peter isn't even hanging out with me. And God's in my head. You know what? This is what you call growing up. This was all within the evolution. Now, that is a short cameo of Peter. And the thing about the hyperbolic time chamber was, literally, I was never judged. And I can never be judged. And but I always judge myself. And literally, I still had a reminder of why I was there, but I realize it now. I'm like, dude, I can get the girls that they're working so hard for, but I want the resources that they have. And it didn't matter because I couldn't blame myself. I didn't have enough experience, so I had to let things play out. I didn't act like I was the master when I was still a student, and that's how I won. And the best part
Moderate
about the
Mark
Hyperbolic Time
Productions.
Trip was My Hero Academia Season 2. Everybody was praising me for getting my game on, but you know what? I always had Shoto Todoroki on my mind. And the reason why I was so heavy on doing everything, it felt like I was living life all over again. So when I got there, it felt like that I got a chip off my shoulder. I got everything right, but you know what? I didn't feel like anything was missing, but I realized I still needed to learn. So what happened when I was in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber is when I'm proven wrong, is that mistake never happens again. And what I mean by it never happens again, that means I can forget about it and it still won't happen again. So now we get on to the ARO segment of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. So I contact Joey J for Life. If you don't know who Joey is, I have a rap battle with Joey. I only have one, but I was supposed to have another one with a Dragon Ball Super battle when literally Zamasu first came out, and I wanted to be Hit versus Zamasu, and I had all my bars ready for Joey. If you go back to my other video, Joey stuck into the library when I was in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber because I made 2 copies of my verse, and he stole the first copy. What I did was I wanted to structure my verse better so I would be able to flow better, but he stole it and shit. And so I realized that it's fucking gay. I realized that he was jealous of me. So what happened was I was sending first picks to Leo, and Leo was getting infuriated. He even put my government in a fucking verse saying I'll kill your ass on April 24th. And literally, I knew they were obsessed with me. I knew everything, but they have this crazy needle. I didn't know everybody was cool. Like, I know they're lying, but at this point it means nothing. So here's what happens when I'm at the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. So the thing is, I had to realize that I needed to stop expecting to be good in the ARO. I thought it was gonna get so I was heavy on symbolism back when I was in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, and people called me crazy, but I always had the result. Like, people thought I had mental condition because I put the rapper, you know, Mogrop as Pito from Hunter x Hunter, and Pito I thought was P2 because they were true rappers at the same fact, and one was P2 and one was Mogrop. And I accidentally put Pito as Mogrop, but Mogrop actually has a robotic voice. And I thought it was going to be the perfect offbeat idea that Nerf for Pito is going to be P2, because P2 has a robotic voice and sees the animal. And it was the best thing I ever came up with. And so nerds are all like, no, the rapper, his name is Mogrop. I'm like, no, it sounds and it looks like P2. And that tied heavily into the ARO's constructive criticism. When they tried to disrupt me, it did not work. Whenever they tried to hit me with the shit that they did back in the day, they tried to put a whole bunch of perspective in my face, it didn't work. So I'm gonna tell you why they thought I cared and why I know they know that I don't care. Because I am the only one at this point in the ARO that gets pussy. And I express that verbally, that you will never be on my level until you get pussy. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that as a factual matter, because every time they would roast me, they can only roast me in cameos, but 9 times out of 10, I am destroying the fuck out of them. So they spy on me, and I always had this habit of talking to myself while I was walking, especially when I'm high. And I didn't care. And they're trying to tell me to reconsider the situation. I'm like, if you want me to feel bad about talking to myself when I can go home and still bang a woman, and you can't, I feel sorry for you, bro. I've always had that habit of talking to myself. There was one time when me and Arturo were about to smoke and he's outside and I'm taking a shit in the bathroom, and I literally say out loud, I have a big dick. And literally I come out and Arturo was like, who are you talking to? Now that shit is funny. I don't have to go into explanation why he asked that question. And while he waited for me to walk outside to ask that question. But it all came back to Livingstone. And Livingstone tries to call me out on my new mental condition, saying that I talk to myself, saying that I have schizophrenia, saying that I have this and that. And literally tried telling me that I am stupid and that I need to reconsider it and that I'm not as smart as I think I am and this and that. And so he texts me in the chat and he's all like, Riz, be honest with yourself. Do you realize that your mental condition has gotten worse? Don't you think it has gotten worse? And I'm all like, what mental condition? this guy's talking to himself, he's doing nothing, and he's not literally taking Livingstone shit into consideration because I know he's hating because I have where he doesn't. And I start roasting him like anorexic Mr. Popo and shit. Literally, and he stops replying. He's like, you know what? Niggas be clowning on you, but this is too much. And so what's going on at the time when he's saying that, he's trying to hit me with the perspective like, do you know that Joey tries to rape your woman? And do you know that Joey gets away with it? Do you know that all these other people try to get your baby mama and they're actually able to have full-fledged conversations? And I'm all like, okay, because I still have the mindset that I had in high school that they're still used to socializing, but they're not used to getting the pussy. So literally, even at the time, I thought that they were fucking my baby mama, but I still didn't care. So literally, when Livingstone said they clown on you, but it's doing too much, I'm like, oh, he's probably referencing that they're talking to my baby mama, that the cop locking me from Abby, that they're doing this and that, and that they're able to get with Abby because they want a bad boy. I'm imagining all this shit happening, but I'm in a position, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. He's trying to make me mature about the situation, like I don't care. He doesn't reply when I roast him. He's trying to tell me to be mature. He's hitting me with facts after I'm hitting him a roast. He's like, I don't care about your roast. Like, you're in denial is what Livingstone's trying to tell me. And I'm all like, okay, so I understand the perspective that you hit me with, like, oh, Joey, fuck your baby mom. I'm like, okay, I'll just get another baby mama. You're trying to say you fucked Abby and injured her? I'll just get another girl. I'll just get another Abby. If he's trying to say that they're clowning on me by they're actually doing what I think I'm doing and that I have schizophrenia, I'm like, okay, I'll just get another one. Because I know the truth. I know I was put in this position by multiple people. I knew that I wasn't the cause of my suffering. And it didn't work. And so he tried to pull this whole shit like I'm not going to reply because I'm not going to give you credit. I don't need to put energy into you. I'm like, okay. And so I back up this statement. And they're trying to come at me with the perspective, everybody, not just them, that, yo, you're getting high off this Instagram account and you still don't have a job and you still don't go to school. And everybody's saying that I'm still young on the street. All the OGs are telling me to take my time, and they're telling me that they're trying to pressure you and that you still have a long life to live. And they know I'm the type of person not to waste time. So back when I get back with my mom, after I reunite with my mom, after the hyperbolic time chamber, is when I have this conversation with another member in the Arrow named Garbo. And so even though I'm on top, even though I can fuck any girl at any second, I'm still lacking resources and I'm suffering myself. Now I'm considering in a situation that I want my resources to be in order. And literally, I give the realest speech to Garbo because Garbo is literally shoving shit down everybody's throat. Garbo is known for respecting women, and he's all like, I'm not gonna lose my virginity until society changes because I don't want to get with women and how they're made in society nowadays. And everybody keeps on trying to tell Garbo, you have to step your game up, you have to be a little bit evil, you don't have to be all the way evil, but you have to adapt to this world. You can't just pretend that these women are gonna be aggro on this anime shit where they grow up on Sex in the City. And I literally try to tell Garbo that. He's like, nope. I don't put women on a pedestal, and I never will until I find the right one. And so me, being on the other side of the field, I tried telling Garbo this shit, and I tried telling him why I'm at disadvantage. I tried telling him why this shouldn't stay the same because I reunited with my mom, and she's still treating me the same, even though I have tons of clout, even though I have tons of this and that. And she's still trying to say I have a problem, and it doesn't work because I told Garbo if I went to one of those autistic awareness programs, they can look at my face, they can already tell I got some. I told this and that the whole time. People will spy me on Instagram, literally. And so everybody's listening to me at the moment, and I try to tell them Garbo this and that. I'm like, oh, this and that. People are trying to lace my weed. People are trying to do this and that. And so Garbo's like, yeah. So what's good? You know what I'm saying? Because what Garbo's doing, he's trying to say it's not that extreme. It's like, what else is new? Be mature about the situation. So I put it into his perspective. I'm all like, okay. So I go through all this pain. I go through all this suffering. And I finally admit I'm wrong. I try to tell my mom that I'm wrong. I try to tell my mom that everything is good now that I've lost my virginity, now that you know I have a clear, calm, cool, collective mind, that I'm ready and that you can help me and that we can finally be a family, that we can finally strive in being a normal member of society. And I hit Garbo with this. See, it's not helping me get back in school. For any square who has the audacity to question that statement, do you really think that you can get into college all on your own without your parents' help?
Modern Mark Productions.
And I made Garbo cry. Right after that statement, he jumped to conclusions thinking it wasn't that extreme, and I literally had to put in layman's views right in front of his eyes. Now it's on to the third thing that changed for my Moodtrix fanbase. So they say, anyway, so the whole time I'm in the Happy-Ball time chamber, I'm getting got bitches on Snapchat, which constantly gives me signals that I want to be gorilla, is what the bitches are trying to say. I want to be gorilla. They literally posted memes saying that, oh, why would you try to kiss on the first date? Why would you try to do this and that? Literally, who raised you? A nun? I knew what they wanted, but it wasn't concrete, and none of this shit was concrete. So here's what happened. So I'm still known for being an anime nerd. So after I get my first job and I go to fanmade, I finally do what the hood bitches wanted me to do the entire time, but to anime fans. And they got infuriated because the whole fucking time, all these bitches that were in denial, all these bitches that wanted to play games, all those bitches that said you have to gorilla or that's it, got clowned on. And the reason why society is we're crazy is because you finally gave the hood bitches what they wanted, except it didn't happen to them. They kept on putting this in, oh, you finally did something social, oh, you finally did something with a girl, oh, this and that. And that's why they went crazy, because they kept on trying to say that I was selling myself short, but they couldn't say I was selling myself short because I had too much validation for the high-tier rappers. I was too much about my art, and everybody was too infatuated in my art in order to be paying attention to relationship life, and that is what started MGTOW. Once they figured out that I can get a girl, they want me to do more interactions with girls. They're like, fuck this anime shit, we want to see more of your sex life, we want to see more of your relationship and stuff like that. So it went from everybody being understanding to everybody being so super fucking tuned about everything like high school. I was able to upload a video 6 o'clock in the morning and still get validation from a local rapper, and now it came to a point where I can't even masturbate in privacy. Because all of a sudden I became a celebrity. I'm like, what happened to the guy that was making AMVs for rappers? Are you forgetting that this guy's a nerd? Are you forgetting that those women didn't give him shit in high school, and that this is a foundation that he's been working hard for ever since he was a little kid? Even at the Hyperball time chamber, it was hard for me to get weed. It was easier for me to get women than weed. And I realize what weed is for now. Metaphorically speaking, weed may have many things, but 9 times out of 10, it's someone being in denial of his life and somebody who's relying on the weed 24/7. That's why I can't blow as loud as my friend. Literally, it became so fucking menacing. It became for everybody understanding my situation, everybody defending my mental condition, everybody knowing and saying that the girls have mental conditions and always defending me, so that I have to step my game up. I have to get a car. I have to stop living like a little kid. I have to do everything, and they're saying this for the sake of women. They're not saying this for my own well-being. They're saying that because they finally figured out that I can get a girl, and they knew I can get a girl through street code, but I was trying to get my shit together. They tried to rush the process because they're saying that this woman shit is selling and your anime isn't. Well, let's see how real men with an intellectual mind think about that when MGTOW comes along.